Have you ever found yourself saying yes when everything inside you wanted to say no? You answered another message late at night. You solved another problem that wasn't yours. You sacrificed your own peace because you were afraid of disappointing someone. And maybe you told yourself this is what love looks like. A good Christian should always help. Jesus would never turn someone away. But slowly something started happening. You became exhausted, you became frustrated, you started feeling used. And the hardest part? You felt guilty for even feeling that way. Because somewhere along the way many people learned that having boundaries means being selfish. But what if that isn't true? What if Jesus, the most loving person who ever lived, actually showed us something most people miss? Jesus helped people deeply, but he was never controlled by people's demands. He healed, he served, he loved, yet he also walked away. He said no, he rested, he protected his mission. And understanding this changes the way we love others, because real love doesn't mean becoming everyone's solution. Real love means giving from a place of obedience, not exhaustion. The problem isn't that you care too much. Many compassionate people struggle with boundaries because they confuse love with responsibility. They believe, if someone needs me, I must always be available. If someone is upset with me, I must have done something wrong. If I say no, I am failing God. But here's the problem. You were never created to carry what only God can carry. You can support people. You can encourage people, you can walk beside people, but you cannot become someone's savior. Only Jesus can do that. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is to stop rescuing them from every consequence. Because if you constantly remove someone's struggles, you might accidentally prevent them from growing. Think about a parent teaching a child to walk. A loving parent helps. They hold their hand, they protect them from danger. But they don't carry the child forever. Why? Because love wants growth, not dependence. And this is exactly what Jesus demonstrated. Jesus was compassionate, but he had boundaries. One of the most powerful examples is found in the life of Jesus. In Mark chapter 1, Jesus had been healing people, teaching crowds, and serving those who were suffering. The demand was endless. People came from everywhere. Everyone wanted something from him. Then something unexpected happens. The next morning, Jesus goes away to a quiet place to pray. His disciples find him and say, "Everyone is looking for you." Notice their words. Everyone. The crowds wanted him. The needs were endless. The opportunity to help was right there. But Jesus didn't say, "You're right. I cannot disappoint them. I must go back immediately." Instead, he said, "Let us go somewhere else, to the nearby villages, so I can preach there also. That is why I have come." Jesus did not allow the urgent needs of people to distract him from his purpose. This is important, because sometimes the loudest voices around you are not the voice of God. Sometimes people will need you, but their need does not automatically become your assignment. The difference between helping and being controlled. There is a difference between compassion and people-pleasing. Compassion says, "I want to help because I love you." People-pleasing says, "I have to help because I am afraid of how you will react." One comes from love, the other comes from fear, and fear is a terrible foundation for relationships. Imagine your phone battery. Your smartphone can be powerful, it can connect people, it can solve problems, it can help others. But if you never recharge it, eventually it becomes useless. The same is true for your soul. You cannot constantly pour out while refusing to receive from God. Even Jesus withdrew to pray, not because he didn't care about people, because he understood where his strength came from. Step 1. Remember who you are responsible for. The first boundary begins with understanding responsibility. Galatians 6:5 says, "For each one should carry their own load." At first glance, this might sound strange. Didn't Jesus tell us to carry one another's burdens? Yes, just a few verses earlier, Galatians 6 verse 2 says, "Carry each other's burdens." So which one is it? Help people or let them carry their own problems? The answer is both. The Bible recognizes two different things. Some burdens are too heavy to carry alone: pain, grief, crisis, suffering. Those are moments when we walk beside people. But there are also personal responsibilities, choices. actions, growth. Things God allows people to learn through experience. A simple analogy: a doctor can treat your injury, but they cannot exercise for you. They can guide your recovery, but they cannot take every step in your place. Sometimes helping someone means supporting them. Sometimes helping someone means allowing them to take responsibility. Ask yourself, am I helping this person grow, or am I helping them avoid growth? Step 2. Learn that saying no can also be love. Many people believe a loving person always says yes, but Jesus didn't. In Luke chapter 5, crowds gathered around him constantly. People wanted healing, people wanted answers, people wanted his attention. But verse 16 says, Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. He created space, he protected time with the Father. He understood that constant availability is not the same as faithfulness. A person without boundaries eventually becomes resentful, and resentment damages relationships. Think about a bridge. A bridge exists to help people cross from one side to another. But if every vehicle, every person, and every weight is placed on it without limits, eventually the bridge collapses. Your kindness is a bridge. But even bridges have weight limits. Healthy boundaries do not destroy love, they protect it. Step 3. Stop trying to be everyone's savior. This may be the hardest lesson. Sometimes we help because we secretly believe everything depends on us. If I don't fix this, everything will fall apart. If I don't answer, they will suffer. If I don't step in, nobody will. But that places a burden on you that God never gave you. Only Jesus is the Savior. Not you. Not me. Not any human being. Look at the story of Peter. Peter loved Jesus deeply, but before the crucifixion, Peter believed he was strong enough to handle anything. He said he would never deny Jesus. But he failed. And through that failure, Peter learned something important. He needed God's strength, not his own confidence. Sometimes God allows us to discover our limits because our limits remind us that we are human. Your role is not to save everyone. Your role is to love faithfully. Step 4. Let God guide your availability. Not every opportunity is your assignment. Not every problem is yours to solve. Not every request deserves an immediate yes. Jesus lived with purpose. He knew where he needed to go. He knew when he needed to speak. He knew when he needed silence. A GPS is helpful because it does not simply react to every road. It follows a destination. Without a destination, every turn looks important. The same happens in life. Without God's direction, every need around you can feel like your responsibility. But when you know your purpose, you can say, this is something God is asking me to do, or this is something I need to release to Him. The freedom of loving with healthy boundaries. Maybe you have spent years believing that being needed means being loved. Maybe you feel valuable only when people depend on you, but your worth does not come from how much you do for others. Your worth comes from who you are in God. Jesus did not help people because he needed their approval. He helped because love was flowing from a secure relationship with the Father. And that is the kind of love we are called to have. Not desperate love, not exhausted love, not fearful love, but free love. The kind of love that can give generously without losing itself. The kind of love that can say yes with joy and no without guilt. The world does not need more people who are completely burned out trying to carry everyone. The world needs people who love like Jesus, compassionate, available, generous, but also guided, focused, connected to God. Remember, Jesus served people, but he was not controlled by people. Jesus loved everyone, but he did not allow everyone to define his mission. And when you learn this lesson, something changes. You stop helping because you are afraid, and you start helping because you are free. Today, take a moment and ask God, where am I carrying something you never asked me to carry? If this message spoke to you, write this sentence in the comments. I will love others without losing the purpose God gave me. Let that be your reminder today. And if you know someone who struggles with saying no, share this video with them. Subscribe for more biblical lessons about faith, personal growth, and becoming the person God created you to be. Because sometimes the greatest act of love is not doing more. Sometimes it is learning how to love the right way.